I went back and watched Alex Padilla's snaps again, and I was only more impressed. Of course, Spencer came in early, late in the first quarter. He gets taken out. Sounds like an injury. I say sounds like because Kirk has never identified what this injury is, although he hasn't really done that for any other players this year either. But Padilla comes in there 18 of 28 for $172, no turnovers. He played well. There were at least 4 drops that I counted, one from Charlie Jones, one from Keegan Johnson. I believe Tyrone Tracy had a drop. And I know I'm missing one in there somewhere. But man, I thought Alex Padilla played really well. We didn't see him use his legs much. I think there is this bit of a misconception with Alex. Like, I don't want anybody to think that Alex is going to come in here and be Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray. Like, that's not who he is. He's still a pocket passer. Now, he can roll out and make throws on the run, but he's still a pocket passer, pro-style quarterback who can run. Now, I'm not saying that's not a good thing. I mean, you can compare him to the likes of a Drew Tate or a C.J. Beathard in that regard. It fits Iowa's system, so I'm not saying I'm not excited about it, but let's not expect him to be, this option, spread quarterback who's all of a sudden going to be racking up 100 yards rushing. That's not going to happen. But we didn't see a whole lot of rushing yards from Alex on Saturday, but we did see, better protection, and I think also his ability to scramble out of the pocket helped here and there. The line did take a hit. Mason Richman is out, Iowa's left tackle, so Jack Plum slid over to left tackle. Hopefully he stays healthy because now they got DeYoung on the right, Jack Plum on the left, and neither of those guys have played great this year, but those are the only really guys they have experienced at tackle. The good news is they get Cody Yentz back this week. He'll be back in the lineup at guard. Kyler Schott played every snap, I believe, on Saturday, so he should be back full speed. So you got Tyler Linderbaum, Kyler Schott, Cody Yentz hopefully can share snaps with Justin Britt. And if they need to, they can send Yentz over to tackle. I don't want that to happen because I don't think that's probably what Cody Yentz excels at. I like Cody when he's healthy at the guard spot, but we'll see. I mean, again, he can probably play tackle if need be, but theoretically we're going to have a starting lineup of Plum, Schott, Linderbaum, Ince, or Britt. Who knows who's going to start there? And then, of course, Nick DeYoung on the outside. But hopefully Mason Richmond can come back sooner rather than later. Just 3 regular season games back and, of course, a short prep week for Nebraska. As far as Minnesota is concerned, we know the storylines. They've been able to rush the ball tremendously well despite injury. They've lost their top 3 tailbacks. It's incredible what that offensive line is doing. And, of course, give a lot of credit to the offensive coordinator there and the running backs coach. They have been able to put together tailback after tailback after tailback to fill the void of Mo Ibrahim going down. They've just replaced those guys, next man in mentality, and very much like Iowa did, back in the day. Was it 2002? But again, this is a different team. This is not a team that has an elite quarterback that can bail you out. I like Tanner Morgan, but I don't know that he's elite. He's got more interceptions than he does touchdowns this year. Of course, they've just relied heavily on that run game. Now, he's a guy who can scramble, and that's always a concern. But, I mean, if you look at the numbers, in Minnesota's 2 losses this year, and isn't that incredible? They just got 3 losses, but 2 of the losses were really stood out. They've got the loss to Ohio State, and, of course, the loss to Bowling Green and the loss to Illinois. But the 2 losses that stood out were Bowling Green and Illinois, of course. Interesting statistics here. Bowling Green lost the rushing battle, and it wasn't close. Listen to this number. 182-22 as far as rushing yards are concerned. Now, Coach Don Patterson has told us in the past how important it is that you win the rushing battle in the Big Ten. Didn't apply in this game. Minnesota found a way to lose this game, 182-22 in rushing yards. Illinois actually won the rushing battle, which is very much an outlier. It's very rare that Minnesota is going to lose that battle, 185-89 there. But it's interesting, Bowling Green and Illinois both held Minnesota to 16 points combined. So 6 points against Illinois, 10 against Bowling Green. They lose both games. In Minnesota's other 7 games, Minnesota scored 30 or more. All right, so that's sort of interesting. You've got 2 of the 3 losses. We're going to throw the Ohio State game out for now. 2 of the 3 losses, Minnesota scores 10 points or less. In 6 of their other 7 games, they score over 30 or more, I should say. So, obviously, you got a lot of tape to look at if you're Phil Parker. The Bowling Green tape, certainly the Illinois tape, Brett Bielema, what he was able to do there, and I'm sure that's primarily what they're going to be looking at and trying to replicate. I don't think Iowa's going to be able to outrush Minnesota 185-89. I give Brett Bielema a ton of credit. Now, Illinois traditionally does run the ball well, and so that is a factor there. Defensively, it's good to have Riley Moss back. It sounds like he'll be back in the lineup. Will he start? I don't know. If he's not full go, they may decide to work him back and have him come in as kind of a nickel back. I don't know. You hope he's a starter because he's played well against Minnesota with pick sixes, and he's really haunted Tanner Morgan in past seasons. Iowa had 185 rushing yards themselves last week against Northwestern. But Northwestern's, we were all people were complimenting Iowa for rushing the ball so well against Northwestern. Northwestern's run defense is putrid. Okay, it's terrible. So I'm not impressed by that at all. Prove it to me against a better run defense. Certainly they'll have a chance to do that because this is a pretty good run defense. Again, they gave up 185 yards last week on the ground to Illinois. The good news is, and why I'm more confident in this game, is I do believe the home crowd will help Alex. That game on Saturday was good experience for Alex Padilla, but that Northwestern crowd is not a typical road crowd. If this was up in Minneapolis, that's a great environment up there, by the way, up at TCF Bank Stadium. I would have much less confidence in Iowa being able to pull that game out, and certainly in Alex Padilla, given the fact that this is his first start, but given the fact that it is in Iowa City, I actually like Iowa's chances in this game. I'm not saying it's going to be lopsided or that Minnesota can't win, but I like Iowa's chances in this game. So again, can Iowa emulate what Bowling Green and Illinois were able to do? Turnovers, of course, were a storyline. They always are. This is Big Ten football, right? 2 turnovers for Minnesota last week against Illinois. 0 turnovers for Illinois. So if Padilla can play clean, they can avoid fumbles, that's a positive. Taking a look at the Bowling Green game, Minnesota Bowling Green, that was also a story of turnovers. They lost that battle. Minnesota did 3-2, but it wasn't that lopsided. And Bowling Green, of course, won that game 14-10. So, I haven't studied that game, that Bowling Green Minnesota game. I'm sure Coach Don Patterson probably has. So it'll be interesting after the game to kind of look back in hindsight at what he looked at. Of course, he doesn't want to share a whole lot because he shares those analytics and that data with Kirk Ferentz himself. But I like Iowa's chances here. If you can win the turnover battle, and I don't think you have to win the rushing battle. Bowling Green proved you don't have to win the rushing battle. But you've got to be able to hold them in check, force turnovers. Tanner Morgan has shown that he is willing to throw interceptions. And with Riley Moss back there, that's only good news for Iowa's secondary.